yes, I booked the Clooney thing off tape. I booked the British TV series off Prime Suspect 1973 from tape. I booked this current job. I booked the job that I just finished, and all of it is self-tape. And so there comes a point where one says, well, if it's going to be self-tape, how do I up my game? How do I become, show them the best of the best quality that I can along with my work? Can they see me? Can they hear me? Am I present? Am I in the moment? Am I telling the truth?
How does it begin with you? How do you approach a self-tape in that respect, from getting the scene in your email?
Sometimes I get the whole scripts as well. So then I look at the scene, I look at who's attached, who the people are behind it, who's in it, who's not in it, and then I'll read the sides. But you see, I've been doing this a long time, and I have a method of working. It's like, who am I? Where am I? What do I want? How am I going to get it? What's in my way? Where am I coming from? Where am I going? So all those questions are pretty automatic. And like, you know, everything that I do when the camera is focused on me and only me, there's no other distractions, has to be part of telling the story. I have an absolute brilliant opportunity to present the best of what I can present, because I'm not in the room. I'm not going to say, oh, please, can I start again? Oh, can I do that again? Or I'm on my own with another person in the room or on Zoom or wherever. So if I, if I present something which isn't like, you know, they're going to say, is this the best that this person could do? So, and it's not about feeling my audition. It's about, what am I doing? What am I doing? You know, to act is to do. So what am I doing in this scene? How am I trying to affect the other character? How has it affected me? And like, acting isn't playing emotions. That's emotional masturbation. It's not a test either. It's something that's there to be enjoyed, you know. Like, it's an opportunity for me to act, and it's the joy of acting. And it's rather than, how am I going to get this right? What are they looking for? No, this is what I do. This is what I would give you if you put me on set tomorrow. This is exactly what I would do if you put me on set. Not, I'm going to do something like this. So no, strong choices, strong choices. Play it fully. I mean, within, grounded, but fully. Grounded, but fully. Make definite choices. Make definite choices. Where am I coming from? Where am I going? I'm in a room on my own, and I'm supposed to be in a forest. I need to create that forest around me when I'm doing a self-tape. A tripod is of vital importance. The other thing about using a tripod is this, that you can give yourself more power by having it a slight angle below you, or if you want to seem like a weaker character, then you put the camera looking a little bit down at you. So that's their POV changes, and normally is just straight on. So a tripod, always in landscape to shoot, always shoot this way around. Always shoot this way around. I like to use, you know, when I was shooting, I'd use the back camera, not the front camera, because it's a better camera. Plus, there's a couple of microphones on the back which are better.
Shot will generally, unless of course the instructions on the self-tape say otherwise, the main shot will be pretty much, I think, what we've got here. You know, it'll be upper chest and head. Would you concur?
Yeah.
I mean, for most,
if it isn't that, they'll ask you for what they want. They usually ask. You know, they might ask for, like, you know, lower down or whatever, but usually, you know, I do what I feel is right for the scene. Somebody
sent in a self-tape and they were looking 100% directly into the camera throughout, and this was a drama scene, and they were supposed to be talking to somebody, and that is a no-no. As you would do on a real life set, you just look slightly to one side of the camera.
Unless you're playing a news reporter who speaks into camera. I've booked TV series with a smartphone, an episode.
I think this is true. I mean, as long as you have a decent smartphone, is absolutely fine. Now,
Well,
actually,
can I add to that? If you do use a smartphone, here's your problem. The problem that I found was the phone is here, the reader is here, and I'm in front of the camera. So what's going to happen? The reader is going to be louder than the actor. What I eventually did, and I bought a lav mic, which was able to go into the jack of the phone, and I could pin up, and you could buy one for 10 euros, 12 euros, 25 euros, whatever.
What I do is I have one smartphone on a tripod over there filming me with the reader behind. And then again, like Anthony, I use a lav mic, and that's just plugged into another smartphone, which is just recording the sound, which is in my pocket.
So, you know, it depends on how far you want to take it. But
I think that's the thing. You can start off with as I did, I don't know, I think I did my first self-tape probably about 5 years ago or something like that. And it was literally just the smartphone over there, and that was it. And the sound was terrible, the light was terrible. So I invested in some lights, but now I'm going to move on to I know you have different lights, but I was going to start using one of those, what do they call it, the circular lights.
Oh, ring light.
A ring light, you know, just to, you know, brighten the scene a little bit.
You can buy on the clip. I don't know, how do most people do their self-tapes? If they do them on the phone, you can buy a phone grip which has a hot shoe on the top. A hot shoe or a cold shoe is where you can slide something into the top of the camera. Well, they have it actually on the holder. Okay. And you can slide an LED light on that because it's of vital importance. For instance, if I've got light coming from above, it's going to cast light on my face downwards. So I need that one light to pick up my eyes because that's what's telling the story.
Somebody was just writing about natural light, which can work, but I think you really need a little bit more than natural light. In a house, if you have all the windows and doors open and everything open, it's still not going to be as powerful and as crisp, the final product, as when you have a ring light or set 3 or 4 lights on you.
Natural light does work. Natural light does work. But if I get an audition and it has to be turned in, because I had an audition come in on Tuesday that they needed it by Wednesday morning, and I knew I couldn't do it Wednesday because I was on set at 7 a.m. in the morning, so there was no way I could do it. So I had to do it that night, at night. So I didn't want to get all the lights out. I just got that one light that hit me in the eyes. Room lights were on. That one just took away the shadows and, you know, hit me in the eyes. And so it's an LED, and it's a pretty powerful one, which I got from Amazon. So but you need somewhere to be able to put that light on too. And these are usually battery charged. You can buy one really cheaply as well. You know, you can buy them pretty cheap. They've got whole setups for smartphones now that you can buy, rigs that you can buy.
From a technical point of view, I would say the more light you can get on it, the better. Because if you come to editing later on, you'll see that it's easy to make a very bright scene slightly darker, but it's almost impossible to make a dark scene lighter. There is one question I have, that I did a self-tape a few days ago for that callback, and it was me and somebody else speaking, several people in the room, you know, bit of conversation, and then I was sitting listening for about a full page of dialogue. Now, I know that a lot of acting is, you know, reacting, watching, seeing what's going on and everything, but it was like a full page. Now, I decided in the end it was just too long for me not doing nothing, but not just listening. So I faded it out after, like, you know, 5 or 10 seconds or something. Would you have done that, or would you just?
No.
But it's just.
No, I would never have done that. I would never have done that because it's an opportunity for my character to show their inner life. how they're reacting to this without doing anything. See, the hardest thing for any actor to do, and the hardest thing to do is for an actor to sit still and do nothing because they think they've got to keep doing something. Yeah, sit there and watch your inner life. And so, you know, it's of vital importance that I keep that stuff in, because actors tend not to have a single fucking thought in their heads. I need to see the inner life. And that is an absolute beautiful opportunity for me to sit there and listen, because actors don't listen. I need to listen in order to be able to react. You know, and sorry that I'm saying this, but that's, you know, I wish you'd asked me before. I would have told you this before. Keep it in there, listen.
I mean, I tell people they shouldn't use props or minimal props. Don't overdo things in a self-tape. Like you said, the focus is on you, so there's no need to have like incredible set dressings or anything like that. It's, you know, keep it as simple as it needs to be for the scene.
How can you embellish it without just making it distracting?
Self-tape came through to me the other day, and there was so much action in it. The girl was getting up, walking across the room, and they were actually cutting it. And then you'd see her walking back again, and then she was moving, sitting down, standing up. And after a while, I was watching it. I think, what's she going to do next? When I see action on the script, I minimize the action. You know, if there's, you know, if you're in a fight or something, which sometimes happens. It happens to me the other day. I did a self-tape where I was supposed to be in a fight. I just had a hand and that was it. You know, you can't, you mustn't distract whoever's watching and take them away from what's there.
Can you make it believable? Can you make it believable and readable? And as you say, minimize it. I had to give a Heimlich maneuver the other day. I moved in, so that much of my head was in, and you could see me doing that. You could tell something was going on.
Yeah.
And I've had to punch as well. So I punch, you know, I punch across the camera, across the lens. If the lens is there, I'll punch across it. And the fist will go out, you know, out of frame. I can tell as an actor so much. I can tell so many stories with a prop. But if I'm really pissed, I could show it by the way I, you know, drink my wine, or the way I put the wine glass down, or the way I close the iPad, or the way I stub my cigarette out. That, you know, I've been here for 20 minutes, although the scene's just starting for the audience. You know, the way I stub my cigarette out shows frustration of me going through this for the last 20 minutes, trying to get an answer from this person. So I can utilize these props to tell the story. Like I said at the beginning of this thing, that everything I do in the audition, on camera, has to be part of moving the story forward, of telling the story. And that these props serve towards doing that, Jane. I coach people anyway, but I kind of coach my readers as well and tell them, you know, I kind of need this because I need to lock into you. You know, I can't have a performance which is just me, you know, just me talking. So I need to either focus on something or someone. But because if that's not there, then that's not possible.
Don't shout, just give me the lines and we can take it from there. They don't need to be heard. It's not important for their voice to sound on the tape. You know, so normally you can hear my voice speaking and somebody saying something in the background, but that it's not important to hear them either.
And they mustn't overperform either, because it's not their audition.
How do you deal with not having if you like, a professional actor as a reader?
Okay, so I need to throw this in there. My friend Richie Stevens, he just booked a small movie, and I'm always reading for him, but we're doing it on Zoom. So there's no real reason. He's taping off his phone. I've got my iPad here with the sides, and I've got Zoom in front of me. He's taping on his phone, and I'm reading for him off my iPad. Recording your own voice and doing it for me is a no-no, and there's no reason to to do that in today's age.
Can we emphasize that? You will find online a number of apps that allow you to record the other person's voice or in the scene. And so you record that, then you play it, and then you live.
I would never do that.
Fill in the spaces, and trust me, it sounds appalling.
Yeah, well,
because you're either rushing to say your line because you think they're going to speak any second, or you suddenly stop speaking and the recorded voice starts speaking. So even if you have to drag somebody in off the street to give you the other lines, don't use a recorder. It sounds bad. Would you ever pay? Is it worth? Would you advise anyone to pay for a studio to do it?
If they had no other option, but we have plenty of options today. A friend of mine, Lou Temple, very, very busy actor, used to pay a lot of money to go and get a self-tape done, and he stopped doing that now. You know, he stopped doing that now. Would I suggest that? Under very extraneous circumstances, but no, I wouldn't, because the thing is that what we're missing, the ultimate concern is, what am I presenting on that tape? And as long as they can see me, and as long as they can hear me, that's what's very important. So then what does that leave? What is the difference between, you know, doing an audition, a self-tape in my bedroom, in my living room, in my kitchen, or wherever? Hi, talking of slates, what do you usually put in them, and how long should they be? What's required to say and what's optional? Thank you. All right, so usually, Julia, they will tell you what they want in the slate. And for me, it's usually name, height, and where I'm based. Because right now, because of COVID, because of you know, they'd rather hire someone locally. That's, sometimes they ask you to put availability. Sometimes out here right now, 99.9% of the studios all want vaccinated people. So sometimes they'll let you know what they want in the slate. So I usually do my slate in a close-up and then cut and go to a long shot.
One thing important to say is that what we're saying here is, unless stated otherwise, if the script comes through to you and it says do a slate standing on your head reciting Shakespeare, do it like that. But most of the time they don't say. So as Anthony said, I would agree, you know, it's just the usual things. Hello, my name is, I'm this, I'm over here. Thank you very much for what, I always add, thank you very much for watching my tape. Unless it says otherwise, I always put my slate at the end of the video rather than the beginning, because I want them to see immediately what I can do, if you like.
And sometimes put it in a separate file.
Yeah, sometimes they ask. Like I said, if they don't ask, then bam, I'm going to stick it right at the end.
I have seen both, and I think it's difficult for me to suspend my disbelief when I see an actor do a slate and then go into character, or do the thing and then come out and then do their slate. I always do it as a separate thing, number one, and number two, I slate as myself. So the last part that the role I'm playing right now is the Capo di Tutti Capis, the boss of bosses of the mafia, of the 5 families, who spoke with an Italian accent. And I did it as I slated, hi, my name's Anthony Skordi, I'm ref by Susan Zachary. And, you know, and then it faded, and then bang into the audition, because they asked for slate up front.
Super, yeah, okay. So it's worth that you keep it as one piece. You do it, and then you keep rolling, and then go into
No.
Separate,
I cut. It's like, okay, you know, it's like showing them a magic trick, isn't it? How
exactly.
It's like, And I'd rather put it at the end rather than the beginning. But if they ask for it at the beginning, I have no other choice but to put it at the beginning.
It's a lot of self-tapes are going to say, okay, we want, you know, you performing the scene like this. Then we want to see a full body shot.
Right.
Now, what I've seen some where you'll get the person just walk right to the back of the room and disappear into the landscape mode. I've seen others where people will actually turn the camera into portrait mode so they fit in more reasonably. What do you do? How do you do it, Anthony? Because I'm never quite sure which way to do it.
I have but you can, you know, set that up. It's difficult because if you've got someone in the room with you, then you can frame it. They can help you frame it. You tilt down, you get, you go as far back because that's what they asked for, full body shot. So I've got to do my best to get it in. Is there stuff in the peripheral of that shot? Yeah, but what am I going to do?
Well, the last time I did that, I did do a portrait shot of me, but when I came to edit it, I used a sort of filter that fills out the side. So it's so I don't get all the the chairs and the table and whatever either side.
Well, you just don't give it much headroom. You don't give it any headroom. You don't get it any room on the feet. And I don't know what you guys edit on, but I use iMovie, but you can use the PC version of it, which means you can hit the edit button and crop button, and you can crop it, just pulling the corners till there's that much of me in, the required amount in the shot. If they're at the point of them seeing, going to see your slate because they've liked what they've watched beyond 30 seconds of your tape, then I think it's not going to be that important because my background, my foregrounds and backgrounds are busy sometimes. So I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that important. The slate isn't as important as the work you do, as long as they see what your body actually looks like. Your figura, however you say it. I mean, what your body type is.
Talking about editing programs, I know you use iMovies. I use Resolve, which is an awesome program. It's actually a sort of professional level program which you can download for free from the internet, from Blackmagic. It's been used to color correct Alien, Avatar, massive films, and Bourne, and so on and so forth.
You can't color correct on the free version, can you?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
You can. There's the color correction we're talking for the paid version, which is about $300. Is Hollywood level, but the free version is awesome, and it's much better than any editing program I've ever used. So it's worth thinking about if you're looking for something a little more with a few more tools that you can use.
Yeah,
I would recommend DaVinci Resolve.
I just stitch mine together. I'll remove headroom if I need to.
Yeah,
I'll squeeze it in a little bit more if I need to, especially because I did an audition where I had to do the slate on my own, so I just said it, walked away from the camera, walked back, and then edited that. So I think yeah. So I try and make that bit as simple as possible.
If you do get into the editing, the two things that I always do when I edit, I always change the brightness a little bit, bring it down just a touch, and I bring the contrast up just a touch, because most raw footage from cameras, we're talking generally here, is a little bit flat. And I find that if you just lower the brightness and raise the contrast, it makes you stand out a lot more against your background.
So it's always a wise idea to read what the instructions are on the self-tape. It will say label like this: character name, actor name, location, or it'll be character name, actor name, representation. It could be, or location, or height, or it could be. The last one I did was They wanted a separate slate, and they wanted LA and height. They wanted slate dash height dash location LA. So you know they're all different. So I think, and for them, it is. I used to think assholes, man. What do they want that? And then for them, when they file it, they can find me if I've labeled it right. If I've labeled it wrongly, then it won't come up when they need to find someone who's in LA, who's this, you know what I'm saying? So it behooves me to slate it exactly word for word as they ask.
Okay, super.
You know, because if they're looking for this role and I've put my name first, and everyone's put their name first, they can't find who's playing Carlo, who sent auditions in for Carlo Gambino. So if they see all the Carlo Gambinos in the file, they can pull all those and look at them. But if I've labeled my name first, then they're not going to be able to find my audition, and they may not watch it.
Yeah, I'd reiterate that. Read the instructions so carefully and do exactly what they want, even regardless of how anal it may sound, because somebody somewhere is going to pull you up if you've, sort of sent it in the wrong format or just slightly wrong. You know, it may seem loony, but that's the way it has to work, I think. Yeah, that's the other thing, Anthony. About sending the tapes to them when you have them.
You know, I use WeTransfer a lot, especially with my British agent.
Oh yeah, WeTransfer is so easy to use. It's well
so
done.
If you're going to put it on Vimeo or YouTube, please make it password protected. All right, but they'll ask for that. But yeah, never make as you rightly said, never make an audition public. You know. And usually they can see how many views it's had. So, and when I've had to do that in the past, I would never view it. I'd see how many times it was actually viewed.
Oh yeah, that's a useful one.
WeTransfer also lets you know when they've downloaded it, by the way. So it doesn't matter how good or how bad you were. I think it also comes down to, do you have the right essence of the character? Because you may have sent the best audition possible and wonder why. And as we all do, you send 10 self-tapes and you think, why didn't I book anything? And now on IMDb, I can go in and see who viewed my page last week, or an approximation. And then when I see 3 casting offices have looked at my IMDb, then I know that they were interested in me, or I was, and I get pinned a lot, and you're the right person for the job till the next right person comes along. It might not be what, it's the essence of the character that they're looking for. Yes, acting does come into it if it's down to 2 people, but it's never about my work. And then I'm sending so many self-tapes off, and then I start like turning it in on myself. Why am I not booking? Am I that bad? Should I be looking for another career? What the heck is going on? And it could be something so arbitrary that I didn't book the job. But for me to send a tape, they already know that I can do the job. They're not giving me a chance. They know that, and they're hoping I'm the right person that's going to solve their problem.
Oh yes, yeah, you're halfway there. This is what I often say to people, actors, that they want you to succeed. They're desperate when your self-tape arrives. They're hoping that is the one that's going to bowl them over. They're going in positively. They're saying, right, let's, not exactly praying perhaps, but they're saying, let's open this one. I hope it's the one we want. No, it's not. Okay, let's open the next one. They're looking for that one. So by asking you for a self-tape, you're halfway there anyway. And actually, interestingly, we saw an email the other day that was sent out by a major casting agent, rather, talent agency, to all their talents, to all their actors, complaining because they had been sending out castings to the actors to do, and they estimated that 50% of the self-tapes that they asked for were not, 65% were not returned.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just a crazy statistic. And so if a self-tape comes to me, I
Sure.
will do it. End of. And the fact that these self-tapes were arriving and that 65% of people weren't sending them back is just crazy. So, can I stress, if you get asked to do a self-tape, do it, because you're already halfway there, because they want you. And another point related to that we've talked about before is that, as we said, if you're asked to do a self-tape, they already like you. And when you do it, you have to remember that you're not necessarily auditioning for this film. If they don't accept you for this film, it's not because your self-tape was bad. It's not because you're a bad actor. It's because you probably didn't quite fit what they had in mind for the character. However, and I can guarantee this, the good casting directors will remember you. And the next time, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years' time, they will say, just a minute, I've got this character. I know exactly who will fit into it. That person that we got a self-tape of 5 years ago. And that is a true, I mean, this happens all the time. I have literally waited 4 or 5 years to get a role after first meeting the director. And they've come back to me and they remembered me. They said, you weren't right for this role. However, I remembered you and I'll put you in this role. So any opportunity to get yourself in front of a casting director is a golden opportunity, and you need to do it. Never turn it down.
I've got three examples. One is I did a movie, it was a smallish part with Jason Alexander, and about 6 years ago, and then 2 years ago, I got a phone call from the producer asking me if I consider playing this role on a straight offer. The movie was called Stage Mother. I think it's on Netflix in Europe and on Amazon out here. Lucy Liu, Adrian Grenier, Jackie Weaver, myself, and it was like, wow, I had a straight offer. Then I'm doing a VO for a video game for one of the Star Wars video games, and we're doing the VO. I was in my friend's home studio, and I was doing it. The director said to me, do you know how you got here? And I'm like, is he talking about the character? And then he turns around and says to me, you did an audition a while back. I heard it and I thought, oh, I need to use his voice somewhere. And he'd remembered me and used it.
Right, I'm going to close this room in a minute, but first off, thank you everybody very much for coming along. It was marvelous and very interesting as well. And then, I'm sure you'll agree with me that there was a lot of information that I learned a lot from listening to Anthony. So it was marvelous to hear some of those tips. And I wish I'd spoken to him before my most recent self-tape, but next time anyway.
No, you know what? You're welcome to. Anyone want to ask any questions through enCAST, they can filter them to me. I'm quite happy to answer them. Or, as you said, do another hour one, not hour and a half one, at a time on anything that anyone feels the need that they need to talk about or learn about.
Exactly. Thank you very much indeed to Anthony, and thank you very much indeed for everybody else who's here and all those who asked questions. Marvelous, very interesting to see you, and it was great that we had people from all around Europe, literally all around Europe. Don't you have to love Zoom? Brilliant, isn't it? Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Right, guys, thank you very much indeed. I'm going to end the room now. Have a good night. Best wishes. Ciao, ciao.